Hello again, beautiful artists, and welcome back to another episode of Paint Along with Skye. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Skye, and I post beginning level acrylic tutorials here on YouTube every Saturday. So hit subscribe if you'd like to join the fun and paint along. Hit the bell icon to be notified when I post a new video. Okay, so this week we are jumping back in, feet first or head first, back into spooky season. And we're doing a very spooky painting that is called Spooky Night, and I've been admiring it in the last week that I've created it. It's sort of an update of an old painting that I had back when I had a pop-up paint party concept, and so this is the new and improved Spooky Night, and it's so fun. We're going to use our 3 standard brushes for this, nothing too fancy, and the colors that I have for myself to get started. I have a nice bright red, ultramarine blue. This is a violet purple, which looks really dark here, but once we get it mixing, you'll see that it's a nice vibrant purple. And then also white and black. I have my water cup and paper towels off the side of the screen here. Check the description box below for a more complete materials list of everything that you will need to paint along. Okay, let's go ahead and jump right in. I'm going to start with my medium-sized brush, and I'm going to do just the slightest amount of purple into a little bit of white, and I'm going to create what's going to be where my moon is. So this is definitely the focal point of the painting. So I'm going to kind of put it in this upper left-hand quadrant here, and maybe do the size of, oh wow, look at how circular that circle was. I'm not sure, like, the bottom of a glass, which you can also use the bottom of a glass or anything circular in your house to create a perfect circle if you would like a little cheat code there. I'm going to rinse my brush now. And I'm going to, I think I'm going to start with this one. You could certainly also use your larger brush for this next step too. But we're going to start building our way from the moon here outwards, and we're going to create a beautiful gradation from a sort of pinkish purple to blue to dark blue, and that's going to be a sort of time-consuming step and very much sort of the bread and butter of the painting, I guess you could say. So I'm going to create a lovely purple for myself, well, forgetting I have purple. That's a little bit more on the pink side. So purple with a little bit of pink. I'm going to start circling my way around my moon. Now, I decided that was a little bit too dark, so I grabbed a little bit of white. Now that's about exactly what I'm going for there. So you want it to be not too dark, even though we're doing a night sky, because we have these wonderfully spooky silhouettes that we're going to do later with black, and we want to make sure that they're very vibrant and have a lot of contrast. So make sure you don't go too dark with your colors. You want to just stay vibrant, or even just a little bit pastel with a little bit of white. Okay, now I have this circular shape starting to go here. And what I'm going to do is start adding a little bit of a darker purple now. Along the outside. Ooh, so pretty. A little bit of white still. Blending the colors together. Now, since the colors are right next to each other, you want to blend them together rather than just laying them right next to each other. And that's really going to help the effect later. We are going to tile some colors on also. So if this is difficult for you, don't stress out too much. There's definitely a way to get around that. But the dual effect of this gradation plus the tiling of the brush strokes later together is really nice. Just did a quick light altering there because I want to make sure that you guys can see this color nice and vibrantly. I'm at a new location and it's raining. So nice. Not sure if the rain is audible, but it's a nice little soundtrack to the painting class today. Okay, so you can already see a really nice gradation. It's almost like we're creating like a portal here to the moon. Spooky. Mysterious. It doesn't have to be perfect, okay? So you can have some visible brush strokes. There's no such thing as perfection anyway. Now we're going to start adding a little bit of blue into our purple. So we're walking our way out to the outside edge, and I still actually have a little bit of white. And this is where I think I actually might even upgrade brush sizes to my bigger brush. A little bit more control with the smaller brush. A little bit quicker with the big one. There you see the two colors blend together very nicely. Very nice. If you're painting along today, I would love to see your artwork. And I've created a Facebook group for that very reason. It's called the Art Club. And there's a link to join in the description box below as well, along with the materials list. You can post in the Art Club art from just your imagination or studio or from painting along. It's all good. I just want to see it. It's a really fun group. Shout out to everyone that's in there. Let me know in the comments section if you're painting along today as well. This is going to be such a fun painting for Halloween. Okay, now really getting that blue in there now. Look at that. That looks really nice. Okay, so I've pretty much gone to like just solid blue, and I'm going to take a tiniest, just the tiniest little bit of black, everybody. Because you don't want to go too dark, again, because you want to have that nice contrast. We're going to have a really spooky house right here. So you can't go too dark. You just kind of want like a navy blue. A different tone. So I accomplished that by adding black and white. Just a little bit darker to suggest that night sky. Don't want to go too dark. Okay. And you want to be all filled in all the way to the edge. If you went too dark, remember you can just add a little bit of light right back on top. There we go. It's a play as it dries. Kind of go back and forth with layers of color. All right, that looks really good and really spooky. Now we're gonna let this dry and we're gonna come back and we're gonna add a whole bunch more. So I'll see you guys in a few. Okay, welcome back, artists. I have a mostly dry background here. All of the same colors still on my palette with the addition of light yellow, which I'm going to use at the very end. Okay, let's go ahead and grab, let's do our smallest tiny brushes first. And I'm actually going to grab some white with just a tiniest little bit of purple. And now I'm going to start adding some of these dashes now. If you've taken my Starry Night class, this is essentially the same idea. Get it? Starry Night, Spooky Night. So that's kind of where my head was at when I was creating this. All right, so we're just going to take that light purple and just do a few streaks of it kind of coming out and creating that beautiful glowing effect. Very nice. Now I'm going to just take a little bit of a darker purple. Still definitely on the light side. And I'm just going to go even further out. This is really going to mask any inconsistencies in your blending as well. Okay, so I rinsed my brush, and now I'm going to work with a reddish, slightly darker purple, similar to the color that we applied underneath this area. And I'm going to use that color to sort of pull into this darker, more bluish area. That is really going to give us that nice tiled effect where there's just a lot going on. And to the viewer, it's a really cool effect. Okay, and a little bit into the purple as well. A slightly different tone. Okay, looking good. I think I'm going to now upgrade brush sizes to my medium-sized brush. Okay, let's see. What should we do next? Let's do a darker purple. Pulling out just a little bit further, and now we have a different brush, so it's a slightly different texture. A little bit darker, like so. Pulling into the blue, that's gonna make it so that we have a nice contrast as well. Again, for our little spooky house area there. Okay, I think that looks pretty good for the purple. Let's add a few tones of blue now. I'm gonna start with just right out of the bottle blue. So no mixing required there. I'm just gonna kind of break up this area. Which is actually really subtle. It's just a little bit not as blended as I want from before. So now I have a really nice blend there. And a little bit of water helps that paint go nice and smooth. Rolling your brush helps the brush come to a nice point. And let's go ahead and take this color into the purple area a little bit as well. You don't want to go too far. Just a few brush strokes. Very bold, so just a few. We're gonna add some more color, so don't worry. If it looks a little stripy, that's what we want. Let's do a light blue now. Rinsed my brush. Going to add a little bit of white into that blue. I think this is my favorite shade in this painting. Okay, let's go ahead and just kind of take this everywhere. If you're feeling like you would like a little bit more control, just go ahead and downgrade brush sizes. But I feel pretty comfortable working with the medium-sized brush. The harder you push, the thicker line you're gonna get. And then also a little bit of water helps it so that you can bring the brush to a little bit smaller of a point, so that you can get these real gentle, thinner brush strokes if you want, but the thicker brush strokes look pretty good too. Okay, so just adding that light blue all over the place as an accent color. Getting some really good stripy tiling effects now. I think I am going to go ahead and grab my tiny brush again, and with that light blue, I think I'd like to bring it in a little bit, even to this area. Yes, that helps everything blend together nicely. Okay, looks good. And why not just use that brush to add a few more streaks as well. I like to have different widths, different textures there. All right. I love it. I love it. Okay. That looks pretty good to me. I think I'm just going to take a little bit more light purple with my baby brush still. Again, I have like a different texture on here, so I'm tempted to just kind of bring this out a little bit further. Again, for the sake of having a really nice contrast. I'm going to spend so much work on this background, and then we're going to cover up some of it. But don't worry. You gotta just think of it from the background to the foreground and just work on each layer as if it's equally important. All right, let's grab our medium-sized brush, and now we're going to leave that whole background gorgeousness alone for a bit, and we're going to work on our moon. So let's go ahead and grab some white, bringing it to a clean area, and then just the smallest amount of purple. We're going to do a purple moon. You just want to fill in that moon as circular as you can. Really light here. Make sure not to go too far to the purple direction, or it won't look like the moon. Just look like a light color that you're kind of starting with in the center. All right. As circular as possible. And then I'm just going to grab a little bit of that purple. Kind of dab it in there to make some craters. Not too much. You want to kind of shadow it more along the bottom and on one side so that it looks circular. Like so. Okay, that looks fine. Don't overwork it. It's really just a few little of texture in there. If you make that noise, it makes it a little bit easier. I'm going to grab my baby brush now, my smallish tiny detail brush, and I'm going to take a little bit of that purple that I was working with, and I'm going to tone it down with a little bit of black, maybe a little bit more purple too, so that I get a nice darker purple. I'm just going to create a very light outline along one side of my moon like so. Right. That way we have just a little bit more contrast. Okay, let's go ahead and grab our medium-sized brushes again. And now we're on our last little section here. So we're gonna do our foreground. And this is really what makes things exceptionally spooky. So let's grab our black. And we're going to do 2 hills. So this is where I said you're going to now cover all this beautiful work that you just did. Now with this one hill, you want it to be kind of flat so that we can put our house on it. And then it's gonna come down like so. And then we're going to have another small hill where we're gonna put some pumpkins. So cute. And just go ahead and fill in those hills with your black. And now we have set the stage to add a whole array of fun little elements. Created our little spooky world here. I've been watching spooky movies, as one does in October. And in particular, this is sort of like the Addams Family mansion, sort of. Inspired by the Addams Family. And then also Starry Night. Okay. Now, in my little composition, this mountain is in the front. So you gotta make sure, even with your brush strokes, that you have that mountain go in front. And then I'm gonna grab a little bit of white. And right here, I'm gonna do a little bit of what's like moonlight shining on those hills. Nice. And it kind of immediately blends to gray. All right, let's grab our tiny brushes again. Now we're going to do probably the trickiest part, which is our gorgeous little mansion. And you can certainly simplify this if you'd like. But the spooky mansion is rather extensive. It is an expansive, large manor. So let's go ahead and start with a rectangle. This may even be different than my original. We'll see. You gotta kind of go with whatever you wanna do that day. Okay, and we're actually can go ahead and fill it in with the black as well, since we're gonna need to give that a second to dry before we add our final touches with our light yellow. Very important. Really gotta make sure that this is fully dry before we do that. Okay, now we're gonna do a little roof. And we'll remember all of these shapes again as we add our windows and highlights. So don't be worried if it just kind of looks like black blobs right now. And then I'm gonna do 3 kind of main little towers, like so. Those are gonna be those cool little Victorian type sections of the house. Maybe this one's a little bit skinnier and a little bit taller. It doesn't even really need to be straight up and down because it's spooky. The spooky mansion can be crooked and asymmetrical. I'm gonna put little triangles on top so that these little sections have roofs. And then I'm going to also create what will be a porch. So just kind of bring a line out and then down like so, and then kind of flatten it out. And then from this top roof here, can do a little roof support coming down. And I think that adds a nice little kind of see-through element. Okay, then we're gonna let that dry for a little bit. And I'm gonna come over here, I'm gonna add some pumpkins. And the pumpkins are just going to be like an oval shape like a heart mixed with a oval on the bottom. And I like to do one that's like short and fat, and then one that's a little bit taller and skinnier. You want to make sure that they're poking up here on above the horizon. Okay, now we have those nice black silhouettes. Let's go ahead and do some bats. Now, a bat is very similar to creating a bird. So I'm gonna start in the same way by doing like an M, essentially like a flat M. And then we have essentially what would be like a seagull in some of my mini ocean-y paintings. But to make it a bat, I'm gonna bring it out a little bit further. What you're gonna do is you're gonna add some little curves like so that you get arches. Now he's gonna have a little body there, so you can do a little kind of oval. And then more arches on this side. Getting a little bit smaller since maybe that wing is going away from you. And then on the top, you're gonna also just gonna bring it to a little point. Like so. Just on the other side as well. And then he's got his cute little bat ears poking out as well. How cute is that? Halloween bats. Super cute. So you can add as many bats as you'd like. I'm just going to do 2 that are visible, and then 1 that's sort of flying off into the distance. Some really small details here. Just like the lightest texture ever. Lightest touch. Very, very gentle, tiny details. And then 1 more that's just kind of flying off into the night. Very spooky. Okay, and I actually just realized I forgot to do the little top parts here of the pumpkins. Okay, that looks good. Now we're going to take another little micro break, and we're going to let this dry, and then we're going to come back with our final step, which is going to be our beautiful windows. Be patient here and let this dry for quite a while, because we do want to make sure that the yellow is nice and vibrant, and if we mix that with black, it's going to turn green. So go ahead and get yourself a cup of coffee or whatever you want to do, and I'll see you in about 10 or 15 minutes. Okay, and we're back with just a few final touches that are really going to make this painting pop. I decided to get some fresh water and clean my brushes at break, and also get my last 2 colors fresh on a new palette piece of paper for myself as well. So just white and yellow on here, and we're going to do the details with the tiny detail brush. Let's go ahead and start with white. So a little bit of white on that brush, just here and there. I love this step. It really makes everything pop. Let's go ahead and start with the rim of the house. Just the outside kind of ridges here, like so. And we're just very lightly going over these shapes. We're not gonna go back in and try to make it completely solid. What will happen is it will just end up getting too thick. So this is just the moonlight reflecting off the ridges of the house. Just the outside little ridges here and there. And then, let's see, let's take a little bit of that white and maybe add a little bit of really light highlight here on the hill to kind of give the house placement. Ooh, I also want to add a little bit of a chimney. So I'm actually just gonna do that with white, like so. And the other side, don't want to forget. Okay, maybe right there too. That way it doesn't get lost. Really accentuates the house in such a way. I'm gonna go along these pumpkins, just along the outside edges, leaving the face of the pumpkin to do the yellow. Just gonna give that really cute, spooky glow. Just the outside edges. A little tiny bit on the stem. So cute. And then same idea here, just a little bit of the moon. Ooh, shining on the hill here in the foreground. How cute is this looking? Okay, one last step. If you want to do anything else with white, I'm actually, before that, just want to clean this up a tiny bit and add a little bit more bright white over on this side of the moon. Totally up to you. I just think that really looks nice. Clean it up a little bit. And now our last step, which will be done with a light yellow. You're gonna wanna mix about equal parts of yellow and white together. If you do just yellow, it's not gonna be opaque enough. It's going to look a little bit green. You know what, I realized I am going to need a little bit of black as well. Okay. Just want to make sure I'm prepped. Okay, yeah, it's easier to do it this way. So let's go ahead and just make a few rectangles. We'll do them on the top row. Like so. And then maybe this house is like peeking out from behind this hill a little bit. So I kind of just have like a little peekaboo window right there. And then same idea over on these two sides, like so. And then up in our little spooky towers, I'm gonna do squares. Like so. And then maybe this has 2 stories going up further. Maybe that's a 4th story. Like so. So cute. Okay, let's go ahead and with this light yellow, come over and do our pumpkin faces too. And then we're gonna cut apart our windows over here and kind of clean things up a little bit with black. So to create a pumpkin face, you're just gonna do 2 little triangles, like so, for the eyes, just like you're carving. So cute. And then an upside down triangle for the nose. And then you can do your mouth kind of however you like, but I usually do a little squiggly. Like so. How cute is that? Oh my gosh. Okay. Same idea for my shorter, fatter pumpkin. So cute. And same idea. Very, very cute. And I'm gonna do a few little brush strokes of yellow reflecting there on my hill. I'm gonna rinse my brush. And then just a few final touches on my spooky house and we are done. little bit of black. With the black, you can also kind of clean up your rectangles, make it look really clean. We're also going to come in here and create these little quadrants. Cut it right in half. So in my example there, making that window a little bit cleaner shape. Same idea up there, and then cutting it right in half. That one's a little bit too big. There we go. Okay, but any other final touches that you may want on your painting? I think I'm gonna do just a little bit of like a roof texture, sort of, like so. Maybe one more little cute highlight there. A few delicate brush strokes at the end can really make all the difference. Maybe some light back there as well. Okay, that looks good to me. That's all I have for you today. Let me know what you thought of the painting in the comments section below. I think it turned out adorable. I'd love to see your art over in the art club. And until next time, stay creative.